All right. So I unfortunately did not get to do a day 7 update on my Back to Basics week. It did go well, and I did last an entire 7 days staying within my calorie range and within my fat range and everything. There were a few days that I grazed a little bit and I struggled a little bit more with the eating during meals, but for the most part, I would say that the 7 days were a success. So, for those that were waiting a few extra days looking for day 7, there's that update. The second part is that before I started the 7-day update, I was working on just doing random video blogs on and naming them Crystal's Clutter number 4 or 5, whatever. I can't even remember what number I'm on offhand, but I just wanted to explain that a little bit. I did on my blog when I was actually keeping up with that. Crystal's Clutter doesn't necessarily refer to my house, which it could apply to that. It doesn't necessarily apply to my, I don't know, what else could be cluttered? My car, my diet. It applies to everything. I felt like it was the most appropriate way to approach what these video blogs could be about, or my written blog if I ever decided to go back to that. Because I just feel like there's a lot of clutter that I have to work through. And some of you may know that I will say, a borderline hoarder. Kept my clothes, still wore them even though they were 3 sizes, 4 sizes too big. I have stuff in my garage. I can't use my garage to actually park in because it is full. Not of garbage, not of things like that that are dangerous to have around, but just stuff that's difficult for me to let go of. It started a lot with my dad, who I try very hard not to talk about. My dad basically made me terrified to get rid of anything because someday you may need it. So I literally have 3 boxes in my garage of bank statements from when I was 18 years old. So I know I can go and shred all that and I would never miss it. And, you know, one of these days I could come home and my husband could have cleaned out my entire garage and there would be no way for me to tell him what was in there. So that's where the clutter starts. But I feel like I have mental clutter. I hold on to things from years and years ago that I have to slowly work through. And I feel like when I was over 300 pounds, that was my clutter. I wore it. It was on my arms, my face, it was in every cell of my body. I hung on to clutter. And slowly but surely, I'm going to work my way through it and go through things. So that's the physical sense. My closet is much emptier now than it was even a few weeks ago. Every week I get rid of a little bit more. But then there's the theoretical clutter that I have to go through now. And that could mean friendships, because I do have a lot of toxic friendships that offend the genuine friends. If person A gives me advice or what they consider advice that is actually just an outright insult, and person B is caring about me and still giving me advice that I may not want to hear, but the way it's delivered is obvious that they actually genuinely care about my well-being, and I label them both friends, what I've found out this week is that I'm insulting person B. Because to say they are in the same category as someone who would outright hurt me isn't very nice of me. So friendships I have to clean up, and stuff I have to clean up, and emotional baggage I have to clean up, because I can't even mention my dad without crying. And I can't live the next 50 years of my life that way. And I can't mention old friends from high school without crying. Or how I behaved in high school without crying. And, for a while there, I was using, not abusing, but using medication to help me at least be able to not cry at the drop of a hat. But I just got to work through it. So any of my subscribers or anyone that watches this, just bear with me. One of these days I might seem perfect and happy and content, and then the next video it's misery and you have no clue what I'm talking about, and I'm speaking in metaphors just as a way to protect the people involved. Who knows? I just know that if I don't work through this clutter, I don't know how much more clutter my mind can take. And I certainly don't want my body taking it back on. So I guess that's what this video blog is about, is explaining the title, Crystal's Clutter. And I get some questions about where the name Modest Vixen comes from, and that's a whole nother story, and it has no adult content implied whatsoever. It's a whole nother story. But I thought that I could give you some background on the clutter aspect of the naming of my videos. For those that are caring enough to watch, I appreciate it. Those who comment or send me emails after, I appreciate it. Sometimes just getting it out and nobody watching it, that helps too. But having a documentation of me slowly getting rid of all of this emotional, physical, mental clutter is very important to me. So, there you have it. You will be on this journey with me, if you'd like, of getting me clutter-free in all aspects and all metaphors.